all about the crochet. I'll put you in the know. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Jayda InStitches show.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Jayda InStitches show. I get a lot of questions about how to properly prep a crocheted project as a gift. So I get asked, do I wash it first? If I wash it, how do I block it? And I thought I would answer both of those questions in today's how-to video. So today I'm going to show you how to wash a project, and I've got a simple little baby blanket here. And I'm going to show you two different ways to wash a project. And then I'm going to show you how to properly block your washed project. And for the blocking part of this, you're going to need towels, or especially clean ones, or even a clean bed sheet if it's a larger project like a big blanket, and some straight pins. So once you've got those things, or at least you know where you can get your hands on them, then we can prepare your project for washing and blocking. There are obviously two ways to wash something. You can use your washing machine, which is great if it's a big project like a blanket or maybe a really big sweater, and especially if you've made it out of acrylic or cotton. And you can also do it by hand. If this is a tiny little project like a baby blanket or something delicate like a baby sweater or something made out of wool or one of the more expensive yarns, then you're probably going to want to hand wash it just so you have a little more control over how much tumbling and the quality of the water that you're going to use. So I'm going to show you how to do both. First, we're going to go to the washing machine. I'm doing a baby blanket, so I'm going to make sure that the delicate cycle is selected on my washing machine. And then I'm going to come over here and make sure that I've selected a cold water wash and a cold water rinse. And my spin speed, so the spinning cycle, is on low. This is because it's a small project and it's a delicate project. If it was a larger project, you could do it on a normal wash, so something like this, and you can still use cold water wash, cold water rinse, but you can put it on a medium spin cycle. But that's for like a larger blanket, like a twin size or a queen. Especially don't use your washing machine if it's a wool project because you don't want it to felt. And as far as soap is concerned, no more than the tiniest little amount that would fit in the palm of your hand. You've not got a dirty project, you just want to rinse out all of the bits of dust. And now, I'm going to show you how to wash it by hand. So I'm just going to wash my blanket in a little bitty wash tub. I've got cool water in here. It's cool, not cold, not hot. And I've got just a little bit of soap. You can see there's just a little bit of sudsing action, not a lot because I'm just rinsing out the dust. So you take your project, in my case, my baby blanket, and you fully submerge it. And then you just start to squish it gently with your hands. So be careful not to pull it on your fingernails or tear it apart. You just want to gently squeeze the water in to your blanket or whatever your project is. And this is especially great if you've done something delicate, like a baby article or a very nice sweater that you've made out of really expensive yarn. And you just do this for about a minute, maybe two, depending on the size of the article. You want to make sure that you've thoroughly squished every part of your project. Because again, you just want to get the dust, any of the factory fibers that may have broken off while you were crocheting. All right, I've dumped out the sudsy water that I washed my blanket in, and I've now replaced it with equally cool, so not cold, not hot, equally cool water, no suds, because now I want to rinse it. So you put your project back in the water and you repeat the same motions with your hands, because now you just want to work out any of the soap. You don't want soap in your garment or your project. So this is just a nice way to rinse it. Now, if it's not that big, you can hold it under the tap and do the same sort of thing under the tap, but that's a little easier in like a laundry sink or something where you've got a little bit of room to maneuver. So again, just sort of work the water into all the different parts of your project. Squeeze it gently for about a minute or two, just until you're fairly certain that most of the sudsy water has been worked out of your project. All right, I've thoroughly rinsed it and I've now dumped out the water. If you're doing this in a sink, just take out the plug. And now I'm going to show you how to wring out the excess water. So Wringing usually means that you're going to twist, but you don't want to do that. You want to gather up your project and just start to gently squeeze out the water as best you can. So you can squeeze both hands together, work the water down your project, but don't twist. Don't wring your project because you don't want to stretch any of your stitches out of shape. So it's very important that you just squeeze the water out as best you can. All right, so you've washed your project, you've rinsed your project, and you very carefully made sure that you've squeezed all the water out. If you ran it through a washing machine, then the rinse and the spin cycle should have done that for you. But what you should still have is a fairly damp project. If you were to hang it up right now, it would eventually start to drip on the floor. So that's fine. You don't want it to be dry. You still want it to be damp. Now, if it's a big blanket and you need to do this on the floor, I recommend tile, so a tile floor with an old bedspread or an old bed sheet because you don't want liquid or water leaching through to your carpet or anything. But if it's a smaller project like mine is, you can use a towel and you can do it on a flat workspace like your work table or a counter. And this is what you do with it. Take your project and carefully lay it out on top of your towel. Remember, you don't want to pull it too much. You don't want to yank it because you don't want to pull it out of alignment or stretch any of your stitches. But you do want to take the opportunity to stretch it in the direction that you want. So I am going for a nice, even looking square here. So I'm going to pull on sort of gently on all of my mini squares to kind of make sure that they all look like they line up properly. And then I'm going to gently tug and press out my edges. I'm going to get my bucket out of here so that it's mostly flat and fairly even. And I'm just going to go around the whole blanket and do the same thing. So I'm going for a nice even square. Now remember, this is going to dry more or less in the place, like in the way you lie it. So because it's wet, it's going to kind of want to stop and stick where you lay it down. All right, that looks pretty flat to me. Fairly even. Okay, this is where the pins come into place. Grab your pins and kind of like the other blocking video, you want to just tack it gently. First in the corners. And then just a few along the sides. Remember, if it's starting to move on you, you can always pat it back into place. Try to get just a piece of it somewhere that's not going to pull. You don't want to stab your fabric. But just, there we go, that's a good spot. Maybe two spots along the side. Basically, you want to keep it even. So if it's a little sweater that you've done, you want to pin down the sleeves, you want to pin down the collar, you want to maybe pin down the edging. If it's a blanket like this, it's fairly straightforward. You just want to make sure that all of your edges are nice and even. And follow your designer instinct. How do you want it to look when it's finished? Well, that's how you need to pin it down. And as it dries, it will dry in the formation that you've laid it out. So it's kind of like steam blocking is the quick way to do it, but washing and blocking prepares it for giving away. Once you've got your pins in, don't touch it anymore and let it dry. You want to give it 12 to 24 hours depending on where you are and the humidity levels of the air in which you're trying to block your project. You can touch it in a few hours to make sure that it is dry, and different fibers have different drying times, so be careful with it. Like I say, you probably want to do this about 24 hours before you're going to give it away, because you don't want to give somebody a damp gift. you. Anyway, once it's dry, carefully take out the pins. Be really careful not to pull your stitches or pick up any of your fibers. So slowly pull out your pins. Put all your pins away so nobody steps on anything. And then you're done. It's washed, it's blocked, and it's ready to go to somebody special. How to wash and how to block. That's it for this week, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you had a great week, and I hope next week will be even better. We will see you again very soon on the Jayda InStitches show. So until then, stay safe, stay crafty, and have an awesome week. Bye, everybody.